Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. May the wind blow you, wandering ghost, and clear the land of the living. Turn you to where you belong, and may you disappear without a trace. Have you ever had a paranormal experience? Would you like to? This is Dice Brain. Do you guys like ghost movies? I feel like there's something sorely missed in D&D with the lack of the invisible poltergeist. It's this invisible force with unknown power, unknown motivation. You don't know what it is, where it is, what it's capable of, what it wants. I'm doing everything in my power right now to not say ghosts are vague and evocative. I mean, you know at some point the ghost was a living human, and for some reason it died, and now its spirit lingers on. But who was that person? What did they want? Why are they lingering on? What makes them different? Are they dangerous? What can they do? So instead of just having the PCs fight a ghost, it can be more of a mystery that they can solve to answer all of these questions. The ghost isn't just a monster that you can fight. It's not corporeal. It's not even visible. The ghost isn't a monster, it's the adventure. Or at least the session, the ghost one-shot that you're gonna wanna run after watching this video. We're gonna start the ghost as invisible. You're not gonna be able to see it, you're not gonna be able to hear it. All the ghost can really do is like move stuff around here and there and like maybe like gently whisper at the party, and then you go like, oh, what was that? You know, it's creepy, it's spooky. Ooh. Any kind of undead detection, like the paladin's divine sense, will just reveal that the entire location that they're in is undead or something like that, because it kind of is. If the ghost is going to be haunting a location, then the whole location is going to proc as an undead creature for the sake of like keeping the adventure going. And not just the paladin going, there's the ghost. I mean, you could be able to sense like the actual presence of the ghost with something like a drop in temperature or something like that, or feeling like something brush right past you when nothing was there. Ghosts can allow for a lot of creativity, because even though they're not alive, at one point they were alive. At one point they were a person with motivations and emotions that they keep on to the afterlife. A ghost is a person just without the body. Fuck, I think I hit my microphone. Despite all my rage, I'm still just a YouTuber. And then the party rolls up, all right? And this ghost can have different ways that they can view the party. Maybe they're angry at the party for trespassing into their territory, or they're scared of the party. They don't know what the party is. They don't even know what's going on, and they're scared of this big group of people who have weapons and magic. Maybe they're trying to warn the players of the dangers in the area, but they can't like directly communicate with them. Or maybe they're asking for the players' help, but again, can't directly communicate, so they have to send these strange messages that the players have to, what's the word? Interpret. It's leaving blanks for the players to fill in, which is like the backbone of writing horror, is to leave blanks that your mind has to fill in, because your mind will fill in the scariest thing that it can imagine. I would not just put a ghost anywhere though. The ghost should belong to like a domain that they haunt. This domain can be anything, like it could be a haunted mansion, or it could be like a haunted prison, a hospital, maybe a castle, an ancient castle. Yeah, you could do like a good haunting there. They can affect anything within that domain. They can open, shut doors. They can travel wherever they want to in there. They can make noises happen. They can do whatever creepy shit that you want the ghost to do, because ghosts are really all about doing weird, creepy shit to freak out your players. The domain that your ghost is going to haunt should look like a clue board. The domain should have a bunch of different rooms that all fill out a different purpose, much like the clue board. It's a bunch of different rooms, they all have their own little purpose, and you go inside and you find clues. I like the idea of putting clues in the different rooms, and the clues hint to what the ghost was but when they were alive, what their motivation was, and maybe how to finish the soul's unfinished business. I mean, the ghosts happen due to unfinished business, so leaving clues about what was going on in their life to the players, and then having the players sort of solve the puzzle of how do we resolve this restless spirit. That is something that you can include in those different rooms. Spread them out so that the players can go and adventure, explore around this domain, which will give you plenty of opportunity to run the game, play the game, make it a little fun and creepy. I made some changes to the Ghost's stat block. I'll leave it, I guess, in the description. It's gonna be on the screen the whole time. Here's what I did to make the Ghost a little bit more ghosty. Dropping its hit points. Hit points are going way down, you'll see why. I fiddled a little bit with the ability scores, nothing too big, nothing too nasty. I just made it a little bit different. We got some more resistances, we got some more immunities, we also got vulnerability. We got a vulnerability to radiant damage. I don't like how in 5th edition you don't get a lot of resistances, you don't get a lot of immunities or vulnerabilities, so what I did was I gave the Ghost resistance or immunity to basically all damage, and I gave them vulnerability to radiant damage, hence having the HP. I think some good shots with radiant damage should destroy the Ghost, defeat the Ghost. The Ghost is done, the radiant damage destroys it. But trying to use just like a basic sword or basic attacks are just going to be completely useless against the Ghost. I gave them a little ability called Phasmophobia because I'm so clever, and the Ghost basically can do double damage against someone who has the frightened condition. We want this Ghost to thrive off of fear. We want the players to fear fear, if that makes sense. I gave their attack some more damage, and I also gave it some cold damage on top of the necrotic. So the Ghost is going to do a bunch more damage in general on top of the Phasmophobia ability that doubles damage. We're getting rid of Horrifying Visage, and we're getting rid of Possession. Those are kind of lame because Horrifying Visage just knocks off years off of your character. So if you're playing like a human or like a half-orc or something, that's just super lame. But if you're playing like an elf or a dwarf, nothing really changes. And then also I changed Possession because it can kind of suck if you're the player whose character gets possessed, because now all of a sudden you don't get to play and the DM gets to play your character as the villain. So I'm replacing it with some cooler new actions that are better. We got the ability Ominous Sound. What I was trying to go for is that moment where you like hear a noise off in the distance and you like stop. You wait for like another noise to happen, or like to figure out if the noise was just your imagination or not. And you just have to stop and wait to see. So it's a wisdom save against paralyzation, but with a little bit extra flavor. You could also have this as like a frozen with fear kind of flavor, depending on how you want to go about this, depending on what's happening in the game. We also gave this ability called Haunt to the Ghost. It's a recharge ability because it's a little powerful. You'll see why. It is a charisma saving throw. We need more charisma saves in D&D, if you ask me. And on a fail, you gain the frightened condition. So that's why it's a recharge ability, because frightened condition, Ghost does double damage against any creature that's frightened. I let the Ominous Sound and Haunt ability be used by the Ghost while it's in the ethereal plane, because I think while the Ghost is invisible, they should be able to affect the players, but not like deal damage. I think when they need to deal damage, they should become at least somewhat visible to the players, and the players are going to be able to like attack the Ghost or affect the Ghost in some sort of way. But if it's just like ominous sounds or haunting, then the ghost will remain unseen. In a one-on-one fight, I don't think this ghost would be very good at all, but in a haunted mansion or a haunted prison, haunted castle, when the ghost is like in and out of the ethereal plane, and they're just messing with you, they're doing the frightened ability against you, they're paralyzing you, just whittling you down. That can be an interesting session for the players, because it becomes less of just a fight and more of a puzzle that they need to solve of how they can defeat this ghost, maybe how they can vanquish this ghost. My feet are falling asleep. If you're gonna run an adventure with a ghost, like if you're gonna run a haunted house kind of style adventure, I'd split it into 3 parts. The first part is exploration. Players enter the ghost's haunted domain and they start to explore around. They get to see all the different buildings, they see all the different sections that you have set up for them, and you get to creep them out with the set dressing and the weird little creepy things that happen. This is probably when the ghost is going to be least active and just sort of watch what the players are doing. If you did this correctly, this is going to be taking place at night, because of course it has to take place at night. If you have characters with dark vision, which your players will let you know if they are running a character with dark vision, just say that the darkness is really hard to see through. You can still see through it, it's just incredibly, extraordinarily dim. It's like fog. Describe the darkness as like a thick fog. Of course, if your players find a way to somehow dispel the darkness, let them have it. Don't just say, no, you can't have light at all. But if it is like a candle or a torch, then the ghost could definitely just snuff it out after a few minutes. Use the ghost snuffing out flames, though, sparingly, all right? You can only snuff out so many flames as a ghost. This is also where the ghost can be affecting things around the players. Like if the player characters leave a room and then come back into the room, maybe you can change some things inside of that room. Maybe there is a portrait, like a painting, and then when they leave the room, they come back into the room and it's a different person, or it's a skeleton, or something weird and creepy. Maybe they leave the room and when they come back, there are candles that were previously unlit that are now lit. They don't see it happen, they just see the before and they see the after, and then they have to fill in the blanks. We want them to fill in the blanks. That's what makes things scary, is there's unknown things going on that we have to assume is happening. The second part to your adventure is going to be investigation. This kind of bleeds in with exploration, but your investigation is going to be your players discovering the clues you have left for them around the domain. They're going to be discovering things that will give hints to the ghost's past life. This could be old items that they had. It could be like letters that they wrote, journal entries, potential methods of how they died. Maybe they find the staircase that they fell over, or the rope that their neck was tied with, the charred bones from when they burned to death. Or you could just have like old clothing, old jewelry, just hinting at how the ghost was alive and hinting at how the ghost died. Once the pieces are placed together, the players should have a good idea of what the ghost was in life, what their motivation was, and what might be the reason why their spirit has yet to pass on, what their unfinished business is. Now we get to the third step, which is banishing the ghost. This is your climax. This is the ghost facing off with the players, or the ghost trying to help the players. What the monster manual says about this is the surest way to rid an area of a ghost is to resolve its unfinished business. A ghost can be destroyed more easily by invoking a weakness tied to its former life. The ghost of a person tortured to death might be killed again by the implements of that torture. The ghost of a gardener might become more vulnerable when exposed to a potent floral fragrance. And like, yeah, kind of on the right track there, but like, we can do better. Banishing a ghost should feel like both a ritual and solving a puzzle. We're gonna take all the clues that your players have found add in some burning sage, some like salt circles. You could do a tarot reading, maybe some candles too, maybe some lit candles. Make it feel like an archaic, witchy, ancient spell. This is also where the clues from the beginning can come in. The clues could lead the players to an item that must be destroyed, or a piece of information that the ghost needs, or a sacrifice that the players are going to have to make. This is something that you can really get creative with. If you do end up just deciding to have like a normal D&D fight with a ghost, I would do whatever you can to not just have the ghost just be there. I would try to have the ghost apparate in and out of the ethereal plane as much as you can. Not too much so that the players can't, get any good hits on, but I would have them in and out to make it seem like the ghost is sort of flickering in and out of reality. They're not entirely there. All you can see is faint traces and outlines. I wouldn't just describe a full, just person that's kind of transparent. I wrote an example adventure of all this that kind of uses everything in here. It's gonna be up on my Patreon within the next week. It's gonna be out before Halloween. I've never published any of my adventures. I wrote a lot of good adventures. I've just never put it together in a presentable way for other people. But if anyone wants to join the Patreon, then they're gonna have access to that adventure and other adventures that I'm gonna be writing in the future. That's it. That's the whole video. If she ghosted you, it's probably something you did. Oh, my foot is fully asleep. That is numb.